Hello, and welcome back to the IVF Daddies podcast. My name is Julio.
And my name is Richard. Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about something which I think is fascinating, which is reality TV. One of your favorite things to do is sit and watch.
Well, yeah, to me, my favorite thing to do is to watch reality TV. And it's really shocking for me that that's my source of information lately. Like, if you go in the news or everywhere, like, I wouldn't know any of the topics that we're going to talk about today. And that is something I have to say because I've been watching all the shows and I have to give it to the girls of the New York City reality TV Housewives because they are opening our eyes on anything IVF, endometriosis, surrogacy, egg donation, egg freezing, egg store, or storing embryos.
Yeah,
So we're going to break that down today.
we are. And I think for me, one of the things that I found the most shocking is that we have women who are going through super painful periods and they just think that's normal. And for years they've been doing this. There was, sitting in the back of a taxi, calling a friend because you're in such pain. And that's normal.
Basically, we're talking about Uba on the Housewives of New York City, which, first of all, is a successful black woman in her 50s. And she is dating somebody, and because she's considering having a baby, she's starting to get checkup in her 50s about her painful period. Information that she discovered is related to endometriosis, and she had no clue. That brings me back to the episode that we did on Black maternal mortality rates, where Black women do not complain or hold pain differently because they're not believed. And the fact that probably she had to put up with that the same way.
But I kind of take it a level higher. It's as men, we always hear women talk about period pain, and it's almost like it's ignored or it's normal or it's supposed to happen. Now, I look at Lulu and I'm like, if she's in pain every month, I'm going to be taking her to a doctor and saying, is this normal? Is this supposed to be happening? At what point does the pain become this is a problem?
Yeah,
And
but
I struggle as a man, I struggle with the fact that Uber is, say she's 40. She's been doing this for more than 25 years and it's supposed to be normal. And now, only now that she's gone to an IVF clinic and they've said that she has endometriosis and she has a fibroid, that this isn't normal. It's like, what point as society do we not say to a woman, this isn't normal, you shouldn't be going through this every month? Why is this pain not taken more seriously? I don't understand.
can say that you would say that about your daughter if she has pain in her period to take it to a doctor now because you work in the IVF industry. Imagine just a normal person. And also, it's an invisible, I don't know if it's a disease or a problem, but the tolerance of pain, how do you know if you're reacting or not? Again, which is to be believed as a woman. And but to me, the fact that these people don't know about endometriosis at their age.
Well, I think again, it's like you don't need to label what you've got. You need to be able to go to somebody and say, this hurts. Like I had a kidney stone earlier this year, which hurt beyond belief. Like it was painful. And I went to the hospital. It was so painful. Why are more women not going to doctors saying, do you know what I mean? It's like this is
I mean,
painful. Like I
I
don't know.
I really understand what you're going for. I don't know what you mean because I am not in my menstrual cycle. So, but that would be something that it would be really good to hear from you. What is normal when it comes to pain? What is normal when it comes to going to your doctor and say, does your doctor offer you a fibroid exam, a egg exam, a fertility exam, or do you only do it when you are late and borderline clock is ticking? So I think this is very good eye-opening for the show to have women going on camera to the doctor to talk about this really personal. Then on the other side, we hear Bryn, whom it was drilled last year about she said that she froze her eggs, but she didn't. And then she froze her eggs. She's from the Real Housewives She's from the Real Housewives of New York.
Sausages.
Sausages. Bryn is from the Real Housewives of New York. She froze her eggs in London.
But she's English.
No, she's American. She's black.
Oh, Jazzel's the English one.
Jazzle is the English one.
Okay. Sorry, sorry, if you're listening a housewife, I'm sorry, you're all you blur into one.
You know who they are. They're all, this game of not knowing the housewife is getting old. You know, you watch every episode, especially when there are diamonds included. That's another show. Bryn, this is from New York, and she froze her eggs in London. That is something that I can ask you. Do you know any reason why you work with people in clinics in the US? You live in London. Would you recommend your clients to freeze their eggs in London?
Some clients do, yeah. I mean, freezing your eggs in the States is probably around 10,000 US dollars plus medications. So it could be 15 to 18,000 US.
Can it be covered?
For insurance, it depends on the insurance policy and your company. Yeah, can be. Here in England, it's around, I would say about 10,000 US all in. So it's less expensive to do it here because of the medication part. But the technology is generally the same. The freezing and the thawing protocol, so how you would freeze an egg and then unfreeze it or thaw that egg, is generally the same. It just comes down to individual clinics and success rates around that. If they do a lot of it, they have practice of freezing and thawing. If they don't, then I'll be a bit wary. But I don't understand why somebody from New York would fly to London to do it here. If you live in England, then yeah, totally makes sense. But if you're living in New York, there are clinics in New York where you can do it there.
And also, how long would you have to be in London for?
2 weeks.
Only 2 weeks. And, well, she stated that she got 15 eggs. What I did like to hear about it is she was having a conversation with Jessel, the British one. She has embryos stored in Beverly Hills with Dr. Andy Wan, who sent her an email on the show. And is good to hear that she knows she has 15 eggs. She doesn't know if that will be a successful embryo.
Right, because if you remember back to how we've spoke about in the past, having an egg frozen is an option. It's not a guarantee. Because when you have an egg and you fertilize the egg, not every egg fertilizes or grows to the point where you can then use it.
Is it an embryo guarantee?
No.
Is it
but it's a better
%?
probability of having a successful outcome. Yeah. So that's why most people, when we're talking to them, say freeze embryos if you can. But again, freezing eggs is a great option.
Well, yeah, she was asking her ex-boyfriend to give her sperm. Which gives me to another topic, not related to reality TV. So thank you, Bravo. Thank you, Andy Cohen. She's asking to her ex-boyfriend to give her sperm to freeze embryos. And then we have Lala Kent, who happens to go to Watch What Happened Live. She's from Vanderpump Rules. And she just had her second child through sperm donation. She got pregnant at the first IUI, and she still has 17 vials of sperm from the donor. So if you ask me, I'm picturing she has 17 buckets like this of sperm somewhere, and then she got a turkey baster and into herself. How does that work?
It's not buckets of... So
17!
Yeah, but that just means that... Okay, how do I say this without getting embarrassed? So when you ejaculate, a man can produce either a lot or not a lot. It depends on the man. Some people have a bigger load than others, right? So if, for example, I were to go in, they would be able to take my ejaculate and depending upon the volume, split that into X amount of vials. Now, a vial is not very big.
Why can't they do one vial?
Because if you freeze one vial, you have to thaw one vial. So the more you have, the more chances you have of being able to freeze that all, use one and keep the rest frozen.
In case if that vial goes rotten.
Correct. What if they drop that vial on the floor? You have backup. Because in an ejaculation, you could have millions of sperm. Unlike an egg, which is a single egg, like there's a lot of sperm. So they're going to take that and put that into different little things. And then they'll keep frozen and they'll use one.
Okay. Yeah, but and then they asked her if she wants to have more babies, and she said yes, and she will use one of those 17 vials that she has in her freezer,
Yeah.
or I don't know.
It'll be in a storage tank. Yeah, you have huge storage tanks that have eggs, sperm, embryos. It's all in there. But by doing that, by having 17 vials of sperm, what you're doing is you're almost guaranteeing the biological link between the children, because she's got that sperm frozen. Because if that guy couldn't produce sperm in the future, she'd have to go to a different sperm donor.
Yeah.
And then at least this way, they're genetically related.
Like, does it cost changes if you get, like, can you demand vials?
You buy.
Like, but can you tell them, I just want, like, it's a price of 3 vials discount, or like you pay more per vial?
I know
or...
someone who paid $25,000 per vial of sperm.
What do you need to have to get $25,000 to get a vial of sperm?
Great cum.
I don't think. Oh my God, we're just gonna edit that out. Back to the Housewives of New York. So there's a beautiful scene where Brynn and Jessel are talking about eggs versus embryos. And then I want to touch base on something that I'm sure you can be more aware or relate to this. The frustration of Jessel trying to find a way to convince her husband to get a child.
Why can I relate?
I'm not trying to convince you, but
Put me on the
like,
spot.
what would be a good technique to convince somebody?
Good luck.
No, but in all
but
honesty,
in all
like as a mother, as a woman, the man can have 100 vials. She has a certain amount of time to carry a baby, and the frustration of a woman to wanting to be a mom.
But I think this is like she wants another baby and he doesn't. That's the fundamental difference.
Well, the good thing is that he said there's 1% chance.
That's because he doesn't want an argument. Yeah, that's just false hope. But one never knows, right? I think
So you always like to argue.
the challenge is it will be her uterus, but then you've got the ability to use a surrogate. So even because they have embryos frozen, those embryos will stay frozen forever. The quality, the age when they froze is the age that they're going to be. So say she was 30 when they took out the eggs and he was 32 with the sperm and they made it. Even if she gets to being 45, the embryos when she was 30. So it doesn't really matter. That part doesn't change. What will change is her uterus.
But the emotional aspect of, yeah, I want a baby, and this is the right gap of age difference between the kids that we have.
Yeah.
And he's probably thinking this is the perfect gap of age for spending more money that I don't want to.
Well, but all of a sudden your children are older, they're more independent, they can look after themselves, they can do different things. You get your life back a little bit, you start doing other bits and pieces. And I think that is the challenge, because say their children are 9 and 5. Like if you wait too long and then it's 14 and 9, do you then just have one baby or do you have two? Because then you have one who's going to be, so you'll have 110, like the age gap is too big and that child becomes a single child.
Well, that's what Lala Kent, it's funny because that's what Lala Kent said. Is like, after 3, what is one more? And I come from a family of 3 siblings from the same marriage and 2 more siblings from the second marriage that were 5. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I always say like having kids is like having a roommate. Like the expenses are like split, and no, it's more expensive to live alone than with a roommate.
No.
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 No? Okay, so get that out of the clear. And then after that, another thing that we keep learning about these women, which I'm just like flabbergasted that my world of, or my entertainment, which is reality TV, mixes with your career. We hear Erin and Jenna Lyons talking about, well, Erin is trying to tell Jenna that she's approached by Cosmopolitan magazine. So Erin is...
I don't watch reality TV, remember? I'm like...
He doesn't watch reality TV. I'm glad that he doesn't. So Erin is approached by Glamour magazine and to talk about her experience in abortion. I remember you and I once touched on the word abortion and you lost it.
Because we have very differing views on abortion.
It's not that we have different views on abortion. We touched upon on at some point if Lulu ever needs to go through an abortion, and you were like, that's never going to happen. And then she talks to Allure magazine, being 18, pregnant, not knowing what to do, going to Planned Parenthood. And then Jenna is seeing her very vulnerable and crying, to the point that she felt so much empathy for her that she shared her story that she also had an abortion. So how common is this? And the fact that she went and talked to her dad about it, and her dad also told her that he was in the same situation.
I find it despicable that governments can try to regulate the choice of a woman on her body. I think it's one of the most heinous things that anybody can do. If in that instance, Erin was 18, she was scared, she didn't know what to do. Her choice was her choice, and that should be her right.
And what could have happened if you go to a clinic that is not certified, that is not...
Well, this is what happened on this. You could die, right? You would end up with botched terminations. You end up with infertility caused by that you can never have a child because they mess it up. Like, there are so many backdoor problems with underground terminations or abortions that it beggars belief. For me, it's a fundamental right of somebody to choose what they want to do with their body. And for Erin to go onto this show and to go onto that magazine and to talk about it, I'm like, you are amazing, because so many people are worried. They're alone. They don't even know what they're going to do. And yeah, I mean, I know women that have been through it. I don't know how many women of my friends will have had that problem and been sitting there scared and not knowing what to do and then gone through it. I mean, that's their choice. But I think to stand up and be a voice, anybody who's on these reality TV shows, or anybody who is a public persona, or anybody who has a voice, as long as they're doing good with it, I'm like, yes.
People can say that these are scripted shows. You can organize a timeline, but you cannot script somebody having an abortion. It's not that I have different views on abortion. Well, I mean, I have it, the pain of her voice, just talking about it as if it was today, it's just like, I don't know, I just wouldn't be able to terminate. I don't know if that would happen to me. I'm not saying that shouldn't be the only way. I actually think that it should be the most legalized thing, because you can do it with better certifications, better doctors, better assistants, better technology. So it's not like I'm against it. It's just, you are the one that is going to put the head in the pillow and take that with you. So that should be your decision, not mine. Whether I could bear with that or not has nothing to do with anyone else.
Well, you saw it took her 18 years to tell her dad, because she was scared that he was going to reject her. She was scared that he was going to be mad. And what happened? He was like, and as a parent, I say the same thing. Like, okay, even if I'm disappointed in you, my daughter, I've got your back.
Yeah.
Even if I was concerned about it, I've got your back. I will always be behind you, supporting you. And I think that for her, you could see that resonate just like to her core, that she had been carrying this guilt and this worry and this concern for so many years. And then all of a sudden, that must have felt...
Where you can see her crying when she's listening to her dad, whom then we find out in the show that recently passed away. Imagine if it would have been gone and she could have not had that opportunity, because also that led them to bond over the experience, and bonding over the fact that, I just get goosebumps, but bonding over the fact that now you know for sure that your dad would have been there for you. I think that makes a huge difference, whether you know it or not.
But that's what I love about these TV shows, is it is real people, scripted or not. These are real people in real situations with real reactions happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of fighting and they're all bickering about that, blah, blah, blah. But they're touching on some really important topics. And these topics, be it egg freezing, be it making embryos, be it IVF, be it termination, this affects many, many, many people. More people than we know. 1 in 6 or 1 in 7 people suffers from infertility. And most suffer in silence. And if they can give a voice to those people, just like we're doing here, hopefully educating, saying to people, you have a painful period, that's not necessarily normal. If we can educate people to be able to go and say to someone, hey, I saw these two gay guys talking about periods and I don't know, mine is very heavy and it hurts and it's da da da. Can you please just have a look? Get rid of that embarrassment, get rid of that stigma, get rid of that taboo. Just get it checked.
Also, these are things that I'm just trying to find out. So, what is endometriosis completely? I don't know. How does that happen? I don't know. Are you born with it? I don't know. Does it decay your body with age and makes the endometriosis worse? Like, I don't know. Is there any doctor that wants to help us figure out this information that we can normalize it or be explained for me to be educated? Because we just have a daughter that if she has cramps, when is a normal cramp and when is a not normal cramp? Andy Cohen has also two kids through IVF and surrogacy and talks about it. And they can choose the editing. These people film so much. And then they're choosing on one season to go through what it's like to have people that really want to get pregnant and they can't. People that really want to have a baby and trying to figure out what to do with their husbands, and people that had abortion, and people that are just still breastfeeding until the baby's 5. It's so interesting. And imagine with IVF and surrogacy, how many people does that take?
Takes a village. Definitely takes a village. And not only a village, it takes a bunch of people who care about you as an individual, even if they don't know who you are. You've got all the professionals, the doctors, the agencies, the lawyers. They need to really want to look after you.
And then we have Real Housewives of Dubai with Caroline Stanbury, who has a husband that really wants a baby. And she's the one that she doesn't know if she's of age to start again as the mother. And she went through IVF, and IVF became legal in Dubai. Surrogacy became legal in Dubai. And you still see these women.
I also think, you have a new relationship. So she was married before. She's married Sergio or Sergio. I don't really know if it's Sergio or Sergio. I don't know. But anyway, she married him. He's younger than she is. He wants to have his child. Rightly so. She was like, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it now because my eggs are getting older. So I believe they've made embryos. Now, whether or not they then use those, that's a different story. But in order to, because obviously they could have a child with an egg donor, but if she wants to use her own, she's getting to that age where her egg quality declines and they won't have embryos. So they went through that process. So at least they've got the option there to do if they want. And again, this is always about optionality. Keep your doors open. Why close the door if you don't have to? Keep it open, and then if you get to the stage where you want to walk through it, you can. It's not shut.
I want to close the episode with the question, until what point would you think you can stretch negotiation of becoming a parent? I mean, if you've had patients talking about creating families, have you seen deal breakers for people that separate because one wanted family and the other didn't?
Yeah, generally it comes to a point where people feel too old to do it. And one feels too old and one doesn't.
And do they stay together past that? Would it be a deal breaker for you to have a person that wants a family and you don't, or you want a family and a person doesn't?
Let us know. But I want to say to everybody on The Real Housewives, thank you. Because what you are doing is you're educating. You are breaking those taboos. And that is immensely helpful for many, many people. So thank you.